Hello good people of the internet, my name is Andy and you're watching Geek Curio, and today we're going to have a look at what went wrong with my Ghostbusters Firehouse. Hello there and welcome back, and this is going to be part 3 of my how to build a Ghostbusters Firestation, which I'm going to be slightly renaming to how not to build a Ghostbusters Firestation. Now at the beginning of the video series I did point out that I had never actually made a model or piece from scratch before, so I knew that straight away I'll be learning a lot of things. Now I spent a few years watching the likes of Blackmagic Craft, Geek Gaming Scenics, also known as Luke's APS, and yeah, I thought I had a bit of a good grasp, and watching those guys always gave me the drive and the excitement and inspiration to want to build some of my own terrain pieces. So I have decided now to actually stop work on the Ghostbusters Firehouse that I'm working on. And the reason for this is thus. Basically it was Thursday when I decided to do this, and I realised that on Thursday, as far as I'd actually progressed, I'd pretty much managed to succeed in doing one wall, and that was one wall out of 12. Also with some of the learnings that I had using the materials and the tools I had, it wasn't going to turn out the way that I would have wanted it to. So I could have spent the remaining 3 days of my annual leave building something which I know wouldn't look like what I anticipated at the beginning of the week, or I could stop the work and actually see what I've learned from this. So I'm going to show you what progress I managed to make, and I'm going to show you why I stopped. So first of all, I was using balsa wood as the structure and using lollipop sticks to support everything, as well as these square pieces of balsa to work and as supports. Now I have done some experimentation to see what the best material would be for cladding the outside of the firehouse, and I decided to work with plaster of Paris. So there was a few problems with plaster of Paris. First of all, trying to mix it to get the pour right, and I did a few things that I did. This is the first one that I did, and it came through quite thick. It wasn't very smooth. I've been shaving bits off with a craft knife, and it just didn't look very good. So I then worked with a much thinner recipe, especially spreading over a much larger area, and it looks a lot more smoother, but it still hasn't dried, and this is over 24 hours later. There's cracks in it, and also it's heavy. So I mean, this is one wall and it weighs a lot, and like I say, multiplying this over several times, I decided to work with balsa wood because I knew it was light, but it just made it extremely heavy. This plaster is still coming off. I can literally rub against it, and I'm actually getting stuff on my hands, and I don't know how long it would take for the plaster to cure before I'll be able to paint it as well. So that's something I wouldn't do in the future. Another thing was the actual balsa wood itself. So once again, I learned a few things here. You can tell I didn't pay much attention in school when it came to design technology or resistant materials, as I think it's called nowadays. So, cutting the balsa wood. Initially I started off with a regular craft knife, because in my head that is how I imagined everything would work. With the craft knife I was slipping, because I did have a straight edge to work against, but the cutting motion of the blade I ended up cutting in curves rather than straight lines. Switching over to a jigsaw, I realised that I need a much thinner teeth than what I actually have at home, because the jigsaw, although cut a straight line, as you can see, it pretty much ripped and tore through the balsa wood completely. Also, balsa wood pretty much absorbs all moisture, so the moisture from the plaster of Paris was being absorbed very quickly, which also meant the plaster of Paris was drying too fast. Like I say, going back to the wall that I showed earlier, a good portion of it has dried, but on the outer layer, which isn't anywhere near the balsa wood, hasn't dried at all, so it's a bit tricky. Using the glue also warped the balsa wood, so I ended up gluing on both sides in order to fix the warping problems. I mean, there was bits where walls were coming out literally concave like that, but a layer of PVA glue on the other side managed to get it back to normal. Also being able to use clamps, so although PVA glue sticks, with the warping of the wood it didn't actually, some bits wouldn't stick down and then the PVA glue would dry. So I managed to get these fantastic clips from Poundland. So literally I've got 4 of those for £1 and they're absolutely brilliant, and I recommend if you are anywhere near a Poundland store in the UK, grab them because they're just useful for pretty much anything. So would I do it again? I'm going to say yes, but I don't know when. I mean, the good news is that I did buy quite a lot of materials online in order to do this project, and I'm glad that I decided to put those materials to one side rather than wasting them on a project that I think would actually fail. What would I do better or different? First of all, I think I'll need to get some thinner jigsaw blades, something that doesn't have big teeth, but actually thinner, more finer teeth, so I can cut through the balsa wood easily. More of these clamps, and actually some good table clamps as well, so I can cut without problem and make sure that everything's done evenly. Screws for support. Now, I was actually quite happy with the way that these square bits of balsa wood went on, and I think if I had a really small screw, that would have worked really well. I still would like to clad the outside of the building, and I think one of the other materials that I practiced with was Das air drying clay, and I was going to use that for brickwork rather than concrete work, but I think Das air drying clay would look really good on the whole building. Reason for that is basically I can roll it out as thin as I want it to. It wouldn't be as heavy. I mean, there's going to be some weight to it, but probably not as bad. And also, because it's got quite a long drying time, I can use things like the texture rollers from Green Stuff World, which should allow me to put patterns on it, so patterns for brickwork, etc. Or I can even fill that in with a craft blade myself. Like I say, not every project goes to plan. I will admit that there was a part of me that thought I might just remove the first 2 videos and pretend it never happened, but a friend of mine did actually say to me it's very unusual to see a YouTuber fail and show what happened. So I thought I decided to go ahead and show it anyway. So use it as a learn from my mistakes, but also I think it might be a good opportunity to bring a bit of a conversation. So I've made some suggestions as to what I would do next. If you are watching this video and you've got some experience with making models, I would love to hear what sort of advice you would give and how you would do things differently as well. So I would like to have a Ghostbusters Firehouse in the future, and it's something that I would like to spend some time and just build myself, just for my own amusement. So any ideas, I am openly welcome to them, so please leave them in the comment section down below. So thank you ever so much for making this far. If you have enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you aren't already subscribed, it would mean the world to me if you hit that subscribe button as well. So it's a goodbye from me. Stay safe and take care.